What's up, it's Robert from Existence First, mental training for a modern world. Today's video is a part 2 of the video I did on the universe handing you crap and how to stay centered while that's happening. I did end up watching the rest of that basketball game with Michael Jordan in the championship against the Utah Jazz. And there's two things I noticed. Number one, I noticed he actually missed a lot of shots throughout the game. I thought he was going to be on fire. And then number two, he did win the game with a three-pointer at the end, and it was very impressive, especially for someone under the weather. But still, all of those misses was kind of disillusioning. And it revealed to me that I had an idealized version in my mind of what that game would be like. And I was quite surprised to see him miss so many shots when I heard all these great things about the game. So I think that's common, not just when we watch sports, movies, whatever. When we go through life, we sometimes have an idealized version. We think, what would it be like to be famous, to be rich, etc. And our mind idealizes it. It thinks that world would be perfect when we know the reality is not like that. The reality is like a bumpy ground, right? There's always going to be divots. There's always going to be these pluses and minuses, right? The world will be good to you, then the world will not be so good to you. So what to me is more important than having a smooth surface is having command of the territory. And so this audiobook I was listening to today, it's called The Closer's Survival Guide. It's a book on sales by Grant Cardone. Really good, great entrepreneur, great knowledge of self-help, this guy. In this book, he's talking about there are some salespeople that have a period of explosion where they do so well, sale after sale, but then they hit a slump. And the reason they hit the slump is because while they were doing well, they were taking the right steps to make the sales, but they didn't know that those things they were doing, X, Y, and Z, were causing the sales, right? And I've been through that personally as I've been coached for years in self-help and other areas where I'll be doing 101 things that the coaches tell me to do for a certain period, but then once you kind of end the coaching, or if the coaching is interrupted for some reason, you reach a slump and you think, why? I thought I learned the skills, like I was being coached, I learned these things and I got results, and now I'm not getting results. And the question is why? Well, as a student, you didn't really understand what those things you were doing, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that were producing the results. And so you were getting results, but you didn't kind of have that intimate understanding of how, at the cause and effect level, of how this affects that. And sure, happenstance will allow for successes here and there, but I think that if we really want command over our minds and over sort of our emotional well-being and our general environment, we have to really get at this cause and effect thing. And that takes a very close understanding. That takes experimentation. I ended the last video saying that I was going to experiment, and I really have been doing that. The latest experiment was last night. I tried to do some emails late at night, and I did. But then the result was that I ended up dreaming of emails, and it did not go well, right? I didn't get good sleep. And so right there, cause and effect relationship, where I learned something about the way that this thing, mind, body, whatever, system functions. And I learned that through basic trial and error. So it's going to take lots of trial and error, but lots of vigilance while we're doing the trial and error, so that we can carefully see which variables are causing the results that we want. That's all for today's reflection. Thank you for watching. Think deeply and put your existence first.